The Wellness Revolution starts now.
Hello, I'm Dr. Steve Hotze, and welcome to today's program. It's our privilege to have today our guest for the program, one of our guests here at the Health and Wellness Center, and that's Jessica Silva. Jessica came to us originally in 2012, and she's been a guest of ours since then, so that's a long time. And as a matter of fact, she's going to talk to us about the fact that she moved to Houston a couple of years later, and she currently lives in the Houston area. So, Jessica, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Hotze.
Well, Jessica, I know that in just reviewing your history, you originally were in New York City and you were having some health problems. When did those health issues begin, and what do you think initiated those problems? When you look back, was there anything or any occurrence that happened that you felt like caused a change in your health for the worse?
Yes, I do recall just about 3 or 4 years before going into the practice to Hotze, I do recall having a flu shot. And since I had that shot, at first I didn't pay mind to it, but eventually I noticed that since I had that shot, I was having recurrent low-grade fevers and some fatigue that I thought maybe I wasn't getting enough nutrients, maybe I was having some other sort of issue happening. And so then just as time was going by, it was getting progressively worse. So my worst time, actually just before I went.
And by the way, at that time, Jessica, how old were you back then, approximately?
Well, I'm 44 now.
So you would have been in the your late 20s, early 30s.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so.
Now, how many had you had any children at that time?
No, I don't have any kids.
Okay.
I didn't have any kids back then, or I don't have any kids now.
Okay.
But I do recall, now that you mentioned the age and all that, I do recall that I was also going into very early menopause, and I was roughly 34, 35.
Now, this was after you received the shot. The flu shot.
This was after, yes, This was after. And like I said, it wasn't something that I immediately noticed, but I had recalled that since that time, I was just progressively getting worse. It was slowly, it was like slow, one sign, one symptom after.
Okay, tell us the symptoms that you were having at that time.
So it was a low-grade fever. It was the allergic reactions left and right to different things. I was having extreme exhaustion, like every 3 hours at my worst. This is right before going to Hotze. Every 3 hours, I had to go to bed. Thank God I was working from home, and so I had to go and take a nap. Recharge, get up, keep going. And I was having pain all over, at times excruciating pain, joint. My vision had decreased. I was already wearing glasses. And I was also having, like I said, just waking up in this night sweats. I was waking up very often at nighttime. I was more easily irritable, and I was just not having the strength. And so, I would have done started some supplements of different company, had a little bit of improvement, but the symptoms just kept going. And my worst was one day waking up and not being able to even hold a cup of juice in my hands. That's how weak I was. And so
you saw, and so obviously you saw some physicians trying to figure out what in the world was going on.
I saw between 8 and 9 different specialists.
Now, that was in New York City.
That was all in New York City, yes.
Okay. And what type of specialist? You saw probably your family doctor. What other specialists did you see?
I did. I saw family specialists. I saw a gastroenterologist. I saw urology. I saw cardiology. I saw endocrinology. I saw even an oncologist, because we were also wondering, is this, maybe an oncological issue?
Right.
And so, yes, so I saw just a different amount of providers.
And what did they tell you? Did they tell you what your problem was? What was causing it?
Well, they will run series of tests, cardiology primarily, because I was having tachycardia.
Right.
And we don't know why. I was having tachycardia, and then the onset of the fatigue that I had to just step out of everything. So he said, tachycardia, okay, let's just put you on some toprol.
Which is a beta blocker. Okay.
Right. And then my primary care said, well, you're just, I think you're depressed. And I was like, well, I don't feel depressed. My answer was, it makes me depressed that you don't know what I have. So she put me on Wellbutrin.
Which is an antidepressant.
Yes. I did it for 3 days. I couldn't stand it. Then she also gave me a marijuana pill, which she said, maybe you just need to eat more. Gave me the pill. I couldn't stand it either. Made me really nervous and anxious, that pill. And I will eat more, but that just didn't do anything. And so everyone will run their tests, but even endocrinology, all your hormones are fine. There's no issue. Neurology, same thing. Rheumatology.
Okay, so you saw all these various specialists who prescribed drugs for you. Mm-hmm. And obviously, if you saw 8 or 9 of them, you weren't getting any better. How in the world did you hear about the Hotze Health and Wellness Center?
Well, in my search to find out what was actually just making me feel this way, I was looking first into nutrition advice in YouTube. And then suddenly I decided to type in there exhaustion, fatigue. And I recall clearly your video coming up from one of your shows, I believe in Good Morning Houston, I think it was one of those shows back then. And then I heard you explaining exactly what I was going through. Exhaustion, fatigue, very early menopause. It's just primarily the exhaustion. That's what really caught my ear. And so after I heard that, I didn't go immediately to the practice, but I was like, okay, well, let me take a step back and look on my own and do my own research on what Dr. Hotze is saying. I browsed through their website. I saw the testimonials. And then I also, just investigated more into the causes you were mentioning for exhaustion. And then finally made the decision to make a visit.
So you came here in 2012. As a matter of fact, April 2012. So you came in and I guess you had somebody drive you in, or you stayed at a hotel nearby and drove over, came to the center. And tell me, what was your first impression when you drove up and walked in? What was the first impression you had?
My very first impression was the attentiveness of the staff. I felt like I was going into a very, very high-end service. And, one thing is to see it from the screen and see a picture and everything, but another thing is to actually see in person and receive in person the cordiality, the hospitality, and just the whole environment was very hospitable. And,
we create that environment intentionally Our goal is we believe that our growth rests upon extraordinary hospitality and guest services. And years ago, Jessica, we decided that this is back in 1996, that we were going to get out of the practice of medicine as our primary service, and we were going to enter the hospitality industry. And within that context, we were going to provide medical care. So we no longer called our patients patients, but we called our patients guests. And this was our environment, our home, our hospitality experience that we wanted to offer those that came into our facility so that they felt welcomed and affirmed and understood. So just like you would treat a guest if you had a party, they come into your home, you want to make it very special for them. So that was our goal, because we know that if we take a special interest in our guests as if they were our friends and they become our friends, then it gives them confidence, it gives them hope, it instills a sense of well-being in them. And we fulfill even their unexpressed wishes and needs. So when you walk away, you go like, they get it. They get me. They care, and they're concerned, and they want to help me get on a path of health and wellness naturally. Now, I want to commend you. I mean, you came all the way from New York City. Now, we have people come from all over the country to the Hotze Health Wellness Center. At least 20% of our people come from out of state. We've had people come from around the world, as far away as, it's hard to believe, Siberia. We've had people coming in from Siberia, Australia. And because there's, you don't travel around the world, don't come from New York City if you're getting help there. So you came in, who did you see as your physician at that time, or as your caregiver?
It was Dr. Ellsworth.
So you're seeing Dr. Ellsworth, and by the way, he just celebrated his 20th year here as an associate on our staff. He's been a wonderful physician and a provider for our guests. He's treated 10,000 or more people over the last 20 years, and he's just been amazing with them, as you know, because you've been under his care. So you came in, you had a visit with Dr. Ellsworth. How did that visit go, and how was that any different than any other visit you had with your doctors in New York City?
Well, I do recall my visits with all the other doctors that I had in New York were pretty much 10 minutes to 15. It was a miracle if it was going over to 20. But with Dr. Ellsworth, I remember I had a full hour, almost a full hour. And he would just listen and listen and listen to every single detail. So that stood out to me also. And,
of course, then when you're here, you went through the evaluation and you met with the pharmacist. When I think Dr. Ellsworth prescribed some natural thyroid hormone for you, some natural female hormones for you, bioidentical hormones. He started you on small doses of that. And then you met with the charge nurse at the time, and she went through and gave you a nice brochure, and we got you up and on the program. And by the way, you took charge of your health, and congratulations goes to you, Jessica, because you took charge of your health. I like to tell our guests here at the center that nobody but you is in charge of your health. You and you alone, your spouse, your doctor, your government, your insurance agency, nobody is in charge of your health but you. And if you want to be healthy, you can be. And when we come here, what we do is we like to partner with our guests, like we partner with you, and we make recommendations on what we would recommend you do if you want to be healthy and well. It's kind of like a coach of an athlete. You know, if somebody wants to be a great basketball player or a golfer or a football player or a piano player, they get a teacher, they get a coach that sets aside certain recommendations for things they need to practice. And if they practice those things, they can improve and do well. So we like to think of our guests as being in the health Olympics, and we're health coaches. And we make recommendations. Our health athletes, we hope, will follow those recommendations. If they do, then they can win a gold medal if they do that. And that's what we want to do, is we want to partner and help you get on that path of health and wellness. So after, how long did it take before you started seeing any improvement in your underlying symptoms and in your health?
Just the very next day, actually. Just the very next day, I started seeing improvements.
Well, I like to say this, and it may be you started on some of the medication. It doesn't routinely come from any of the medical, and we prescribed to you, our program is real simple. Healthy eating lifestyle. We replenish, if you had, and I don't think you had any, did you have allergy problems?
I did.
Did we put you on some allergy treatment at that time? Sublingual drops?
You did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we put you on sublingual drops.
Allergy drops.
Okay, so we put you on sublingual drops for your airborne allergies and maybe food allergies too. And then we also gave you some natural thyroid, natural female hormones, natural estrogen, natural progesterone. And we also gave you some vitamins and minerals to help you detox and got you on a good healthy eating program. And so it takes time to begin to improve, but you know what? What I believe the reason is you felt better the next day is because we instilled in you hope, and you knew that we had a plan, and you were confident in that plan. And I like to tell our staff and our providers and physicians, the way we treat our guests is as important, if not more important, than the treatment we recommend. Because once you feel confident that we're putting you on the path of health and wellness naturally, and you have confidence in that, it provides and cultivates in you hope. And guess what that does? That opens up all the receptors in your body to receive the vitamins and minerals and natural bioidentical hormones that we recommend. It opens it up, and you do better. If you had come all the way here and we treated you like the doctors up there in New York and gave you 10 minutes and, put you on a bunch of drugs, next day you wouldn't have felt any better. You would have gone, those guys aren't any different than the doctors I saw in New York. But we were different. We were different in that the fact that we took that extra time, and Dr. Elzo spent that time with you, makes a dramatic impact on your body's ability to heal. Remember, there's a mind-body connection in health. And that's what we seek to cultivate. That it's not only the natural products we recommend that make a difference, but it's also the way we treat you makes a difference. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
totally.
So how long did it take you over the next? How long did it take you till you felt like you were operating it in normal functioning and it felt well?
Honestly, the next day I started feeling more of a difference in the energy, and just as the days were going by, maybe a month or two, I was seeing even more improvement. And so I've continued on the program, for all these years. So yes.
And so tell us about what made you decide to move here to Houston, and when did you move to the Houston area?
I did see the practice 2012, so I moved to Houston 2014. I did see the quality of life was going to be different. Just the hospitality of the South, of course, beginning with the practice. The fact also that I was going to be closer to the practice. And all of those factors just help with the motivation, because I was already looking to see, where could I move out of the hustle and bustle from the Northeast.
You're right.
So having come to Hotze was one of the pushes as well.
Well, that's tremendous. Now, we have a lot of loyal guests, but I don't know how many we have that have literally moved from their hometown here because they wanted to be closer to the hospitality environment that we offer here at the Health and Wellness Center. And so that means that you wanted to become more than just a guest. You become part of the family.
Pretty much. You can say that, yes.
And, of course, Becky Dia is our concierge, and she knows you well. Mm-hmm. And She's been with us 16 years, so she knows everybody that walks through that door. She's been seeing them over and over. So she speaks so highly of you and was so glad that we were going to get you on the program today because you've become very close with us here now. So, Jessica, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity and privilege of serving you. And thank you so much for sharing your story with all our listening audience. There's literally thousands out there that are in a similar situation that you found yourself. And our commitment is to help anyone who wants to take charge of their health and invest in their health. We're here to help you get on that path of health and wellness, just like Jessica did. And she's a great example. Jessica, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being brimming with energy, 0, no energy, what was your energy level like when you came in?
Oh, gosh, maybe a 2, a 1.
What do you consider it now?
Now, I could say it could be fluctuating between 8 and a 9, and at my best, of course, a 10.
That's wonderful. And this is, 14 years later, 15 years later. So congratulations to you on taking charge of your health. Thank you for joining us today on the Health and Wellness program.
At Physicians Preference Pharmacy, we understand that the quality of your compounded medications directly affects the way you feel, which is why we believe that your pharmacy should specialize in compounding medications while also delivering extraordinary hospitality and guest service. We believe that both patients and prescribers should accept nothing less than consistency and quality from their compounding pharmacy. This is why we've implemented some of the strictest quality standards in compounding, exceeding standard requirements, achieving PCAB accreditation, which is the Pharmacy Compounding Accreditation Board, an organization that sets the highest standards in compounding pharmacy regarding the safety, cleanliness, and quality of your compounded prescriptions. Because of our commitment to complete health and wellness, we are dedicated to making your medications free of lactose, parabens, artificial sweeteners, and any unnecessary dyes, binders, or fillers present in many other medications, offering you the cleanest products possible.
Information provided on this program is neither intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice and is not intended to replace the services of a physician, nor does it constitute a doctor-patient relationship. You should not use information from this radio program to diagnose or treat a health problem or disease without consulting with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have or suspect you have an urgent medical problem, promptly contact a professional healthcare provider or call 911. Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution advises you to always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health provider prior to starting any new treatment or with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Any application of the recommendations from this program is at the listener's discretion.